Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhaddeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Talks between Narada and King Prachina Barahi. Shloka number 83. Etad adhyatma paroksham Geetam Devarishinangaha. Okay. Ya Shravayed, Ya Shrunuyat, Salangena Vimuchyate, Etadadhyatma Paroksham, Geetam Devarishinanaga. Ya Shravayed, Ya Shrunuyat, Salingena Vimuchyate. Etadadhyatma Paroksham, Geetam Devarishinanaga. Ya Shravayed, Ya Shrunuyat, Salingena Vimuchyate. एतदध्यात्मपारोक्षम् गीतं देवर्षिणानघ यः श्रावयेद्यः शृणुयात् सलिङ्गेन विमुच्यते एतदध्यात्मपारोक्ष्यम् गीतं देवर्षिणानघ यः श्रावयेद्यः शृणुयात् सलिङ्गेन विमुच्यते एतदध्यात्मपारोक्ष्यम् गीतं देवर्षिणानघ यः श्रावयेद्यः शृणुयात् सलिङ्गेन विमुच्यते एतदाध्यात्मपारोक्षम् गीतं देवर्षिणानघ यः श्रावयेद्यः शृणुयात् सलिङ्गेन विमुच्यते. Okay, word to word meaning. Etad, this. Adhyatma, spiritual. Parokshyam, authorized description. Geetam, narrated. Devarishina, by the great sage Narada. Anaga, O spotless Vidura. Yaha, anyone who. Shravayet, may describe. Yaha, anyone who. Shrunuyat, may hear. Saha, he. Lingena, from the bodily concept of life. Vimuchyate, becomes delivered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. My dear Vidura, one who hears this narration concerning the understanding of the living entity's spiritual existence as described by great sage Narada, or who relates it to others, will be liberated from the bodily conception of life. Purport: this material creation is the spirit soul's dream. Actually, all existence in the material world is a dream of Mahavishnu, as the Brahma Samhita describes. Ya karanarnava jale bhajitim sma yoga nidram ananta jagadanda saroma kupaha. This material world is created by dreaming of Mahavishnu. The real factual platform is the spiritual world. But when the spirit soul wants to imitate the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is put into this dreamland of material creation. After being in contact with material modes of nature, the living entity develops the subtle and gross bodies. When the living entity is fortunate enough to associate with Sri Narada Mahamuni or his servants, he is liberated from this dreamland of material creation and the bodily conception of life. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Akanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, so this is a very nice blessings given by the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, that this description, so all those who have attended the Bhagavatam classes in all this time and all those who have given Bhagavatam class, so all of them will be liberated from bodily conception of life. So this is specifically the narrations concerning the understanding of the living entity spiritual existence, which is described by Narada to King Prachina Barahi, and it is mentioned as Paroksham. Paroksham, like here it is translated as authorized description. So generally, Paroksham also, Paroksha, generally it is meaning the indirect explanation or something like that. So here it is also mentioned as authorized description. So because it is coming from authority, Shri Narad Muni, how does this body functions? So when we understand how does this material nature function, so the natural outcome is detachment. So when we go deeper into a particular subject, either we get attached or detached. This is the two things that are there. So now sometimes it is mentioned that the wrong things should not be exposed to people. So but sometimes when like people teach Srimad Bhagavatam to children, so we see that there are some cases where a lot of violence is there, or there are some love stories are also there in this. So then they tell that how can we teach all these things to children? So now here we see that if a proper introduction of a particular thing is given, so then detachment can happen actually. So the material things also, like when it is understood from Srimad Bhagavatam, so then we develop detachment from the material things. It is a very important subject actually. So in the same way, like one devotee was mentioning that if you see the backyard of any hotel, then you will lose taste to eat in that hotel because it is generally the most filthiest this one. So in the way, like if you know the inside story of this material world, you will lose taste to stay in this world. So in that way, and in the same way, if we go much deeper into the Krishna consciousness, like when we get more deeper understanding about Krishna, so then we develop attachment to Krishna, right? So if a proper way, like there are many other ways of going deeper into material world in an illusory way, So in an illusory way, like people also like get more deeper into understanding material subjects. So then they will develop attachment. So and they'll get frustration also. So that is a different aspect. But here we see that if a proper way the material world is described, so then everybody will get detachment from this material world. So now we see that Krishna explains about the body a lot in the second chapter. And result of that explanation is what? Arjuna got detached from body. So it is like too much of bodily consciousness. Why are you talking about body so much? Like if we properly explain the ingredients of the material nature, then automatically we develop detachment. So if somebody explains wrong explanation of material nature is what? Oh, this world is so nice. You have so much of opportunity for sense gratification, and you can enjoy in this way, in that way, as the media and newspaper promotes and things like that. Another way of explanation is this, like this material nature is, first of all, the living entity is, he commits a sin by thinking that he wants to enjoy Krishna or Krishna's property, without Krishna's control. So this is a sin. And for him, to get punishment, he is put inside this world. And what is the punishment? Everything looks to be very nice, here. So then birth, death, old age and disease. So everybody comes out crying. So nobody can say it is a happy moment. At least for the child, it is most miserable actually. He's squeezed out and removed and even in the womb, he was in a very bad state of condition. And everybody are happy and this guy is crying. And some cases the child is not crying. And if the child is not crying, then the parents cry. Why the child is not crying? So tappad maro, So like that, either the child cries or he is made to cry. So it is not a very good situation actually. And then Janma Mrityu, death is also a very miserable situation. And Jara, old age and disease, So all of the people in Corona, like everybody were running around everywhere. So we see that this is the punishment. So if this between this punishment, there will be some seemingly, some enjoyment will be given. But at the end, you will get the punishment. So then any sane person, any like intelligent person, when he hears this description, so this one of punishment. So anybody is told there was some fight or something like that, and he is accused, and after the fight is finished, कोई तो मार दिया उसको, नीचे गिर गया, और उठने के बाद बोलते हैं कि मैं कहाँ हूँ, तुम जेल में है. तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज इधर से कैसे निकले, है ना. So that is a very important thing. So the moment we understand we are in a jail and we are put into this condition, so then immediately the question comes is how to get out of the situation. So a proper description of the material world will always induce detachment from the material world. So if detachment from material world is not happening, that means कुछ तो biased description सुना है, marketing language, marketing सुना है material nature का, है ना. So then only it will be problem. So but if we hear about the material nature from scriptures like Bhagavatam, so then we will develop detachment. So Narad Muni was telling about the mind and the workings of mind, and so many different aspects of material things he mentioned. So finally, this what is that, Prachina Barhi, he developed detachment from the material world, and he also glorified the Supreme Lord and devotional service and things like that. So, but this is a very important point. And here another angle of material world is given, that the whole material world is nothing but Mahavishnu's dream. So that is a very nice point. So it is, two things are given. The material creation is spirit soul's dream, and the whole of the material creation is nothing but Mahavishnu's dream. So both are there. So the spirit soul is also dreaming actually. Spirit soul in his original condition, he can do so many wonderful things. He is so very powerful. So he can do so many wonderful things. And now the spirit soul is dreaming. Who am I? I am a living entity who's born in this world, and I have some back pain. I am not able to walk properly, or I have this disease, that disease. So actually speaking, the spirit soul, in the previous purport, last class we heard very nicely, although the conditioned life, in the conditioned life, the living entity is surrounded by material elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence and ego, he remains always aloof from them. That means material nature is putting so much difficulties on us, but the living entity and material nature is like water and oil. It will never mix. It is just there around. He is always aloof from them. In other words, the living entity can be liberated from the material condition at any moment, provided if he wishes to do so. So it is not that he is caught up completely, things like that. If he wants, Lord is always there, I will fulfill your desire. You cannot come out on your own. That is not possible. But if you want, our friend is there, the Supreme Lord, who is what is that? Friend. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So he is just there and he is telling if you want, you tell me, I'll take you out. The living entity is crying Lord, I have this problem, that financial problem, health problem, this problem and all. The Lord is telling you tell now, I'll take you out of all these things. No, I want to be here. I want to be here and you fix the solution. So it is like a person is drowning and a person is coming to save, and no, I'll take you out of the water. No, I should not drown, but you should not take me out of water. Both how it is possible. So to save you, I have to take you outside water only. So living entity wants saving grace of the Lord, but still he wants to be there in this miserable environment. The Lord is thinking no, I have created this environment as Dukkalayam, and now you are asking me to make it Sukhalayam. I have got another place for that. You come there. No, I want here only. Okay, enjoy. So what to do? It is not necessary that even physically, geographically, we need to change, to spiritual world. At least consciousness level, if we change also, it is mentioned Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, right? So somebody who is Krishna conscious, So then he can be like happy even in this material world. So for him, like the whole world appears to be very happy place. So this is also a very nice point, that this whole material world is a dream of Mahavishnu. So what is the problem of dream? Dream mein like, huh? Dream can be ended. That is the main problem. So why death is there? Why no destruction is there? Why all these things is there? Because it is dream. It has to come to end. If it is reality in the spiritual world, there is no end. No eternity is there. So here it is dream. No, it is gone. How much ever nice position you are put into, the point is it is dream. It will come to an end. So it is not going to be there forever. So that is the main problem here. So anybody who is working hard, he doesn't like to hear this thing that like अच्छे से काम करो एक दिन सब छीन लूंगा. अरे like what is this? काम करने का पूरा enthusiasm चला जाएगा. So like ऐसा बोला जाता है, like you work hard and whatever you are doing, like it will be your asset. Maybe if you donate, that is a different thing, but no, I will not take it back. So then the काम करने वालों का enthusiasm रहता है, हाँ तो अच्छे से काम करेंगे, है ना. तो इधर material world is that जितना चाहिए उतना काम करो, सब निकाल दूंगा तुम्हारा. So then here is the enthusiasm, no. So this is the right way of hearing about the material world. So then devotee will get detachment. So sometimes devotees also, actually the youth is a very misleading age, where the living entity thinks that, oh, I have all my future ahead and I am going to do such a thing like which nobody has done in this whole world, and I will enjoy beyond all odds and things like that. पूरा dreams ऐसा है, and within 10 years self realization मिल जाता है. So first thing is to get all these things done. So like my parents have to listen to me. Like if I get married, my wife has to listen to me, and the children has to listen to me, and people around me has to listen to me, and economy has to listen to me, the environment, nothing happens. And then finally he thinks that okay, कैसे भी करके लेंगे, life खत्म करके चले जाएंगे. So finally he comes to that point, and then this is the main problem of this material world. So after being in contact with the modes of nature, the living entity develops the subtle and gross bodies. When the living entity is fortunate enough to associate with Sri Narad Muni or his servants, he is liberated from the streamland of material creation and the bodily consumption of life. So one very powerful way to wake up the people of this world is to distribute these literatures and distribute this message of Krishna consciousness to everyone. So in that way, like if they read these books, so initially it may be a jatka. Initially they may find it very difficult to understand, because all their life they have been brought up saying that you have to like earn nicely, and the world is a happy place, and you have to prove yourself in this world and things like that. So these scriptures here, it talks about like just don't worry about proving anything here, just get out of this place. So like that. So it may be very difficult for them to first understand, but over a period of time people will understand this particular thing by the prayers. Like here also we see that generally this knowledge in itself is very pure, but still if it is coupled with the blessings of Sri Narad Muni or some great personalities, so then it becomes much more easier for the living entity to understand. So otherwise it becomes difficult for living entity to understand. So now like devotees going out and giving this message of Krishna consciousness to people is very, very important thing. So like now we have this 23rd like Gita course is announced, and like we have to go for fast distribution also. So and we have to invite people for this one. So now like I was just thinking about like covering a little more shlokas from yesterday's section. So that's one more section was like it is very nice. So yesterday, for giving time for reflections, we paused it. So we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Panchatattva, so like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's worship is complete. So when we worship the Panchatattva, like all the associates of the Lord, and it is also mentioned here, so the Lord Advent to distribute the Sankirtan mission or perform the Sankirtan mission with all his associates, and he relishes the Sankirtan with his associates, and he distributes also with his associates. So that point we read. Further, we say pancha tattva mili prithvi ashiya purva prema bandarera mudra ugadiya panchamili lute prema karya ashwadana yata yata piya trishna bade anukshana. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be the storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna, when he was present, it was sealed. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst for it grew. So here we see that now when Krishna appeared, so definitely Krishna is the source of all the bliss, and he is the source of all the rasa. He is the storehouse of love. So, but still, when he came, this was sealed. Sealed means only his close associates, especially the residents of Vrindavan, so they could able to access it. But rest of the people, they could not able to access it. When Krishna came out, he came out as a different personality. He came out as the king, and he came out as he had many other jobs to do, so he came like that. So but the mood of intense devotional service to the Supreme Lord, so that was not spread to people in general. So then when Panchatattva, when they came, so they actually distributed this thing to the whole world. And then Puna Puna Piyaya Haya Mahamatta Nache Kande Hasya Gaya Eche Madamatta. Sri Panchatattva themselves stands again and again, and thus made it easier to drink nectarian love of Godhead. They danced, cried, laughed, and chanted like bandmen, and in this way they distributed love of Godhead. So this is very nice thing. So the purport we'll see. People in general cannot understand the actual meaning of chanting and dancing. Describing the Goswami, Srinivas Acharya stated, Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Parao. Not only did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates demonstrated this chanting and dancing, the 6 Goswamis also followed in the next generation. The present Krishna consciousness movement follows the same principle, and therefore simply by chanting and dancing, we have received good responses all over the world. It is to be understood, however, that this chanting and dancing do not belong to this material world. They are actually transcendental activities. For the more one engages in chanting and dancing, the more he can taste the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. So it's very important, it is very nicely mentioned how this absorbing ourselves in the process of chanting, and also eventually when the chanting becomes relishable, so then a person naturally dances and naturally does the other activities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later in the very same chapter explains. So Prakashananda Saraswati asked, why are you chanting and dancing like a sentimentalist? He says, what to do? I'm just chanting and dancing automatically comes. I'm not planning to do that. It just comes. So in that way, devotees can practice some steps, but it should be natural. Chanting and dancing should be done thinking that I am a servant of the Supreme Lord, and I am trying to offer pleasure to the Supreme Lord by this service. So it is a service actually. So that is always we should remember. So one of the major bottlenecks that a conditioned living entity has is that when the service actually goes into the realm of exploitation or enjoyment, that is something a conditioned soul always has to keep this one. So always we have to keep reminding ourselves, I am doing service. I am a servant, I am doing service. So when we do this thing, so we will see the connection to the Lord, and when we see the connection to the Lord, then naturally we will feel the nourishment in that particular aspect. So otherwise, after dancing, we'll have only tiredness. So nourishment will not be there. So it's very essential aspect. So here Srila Prabhupada is giving the whole parampara, this one, substantiation, how one should get absorbed in the process of Krishna consciousness, and through that absorption he should distribute this process of Krishna consciousness. So then patra patra vichara nahi, nahi sthana sthana, ye yaha paya taha khare premadana. So, in distributing love of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was fit candidate and who was not, nor where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions. Wherever they got the opportunity, the members of Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. So why they did like that? No, when we go for past distribution, book distribution, we select spot, and also like we have target audience. No, this is youth program, and this is like congregation program. This is like this program. So why they did not do it's actually technical problem, because like when they were chanting and dancing, no, like they were not having any host, So Jo mila usko diya. So we are not so much absorbed. So we are still little some this one. So we are selecting. So they are not able to select, no, because they are fully absorbed. So लूटिया काइया दिया भंडारा उजाड़े आश्चर्य भंडारा प्रेम शतगुना बढ़े. Although the members of Panchatattva plundered storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity, for this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as love is distributed, the supply increased hundreds of times. So here, Prabhupada explains the purport about that pseudo-incarnation, who gave initiation to his disciple, and when he gave initiation to his disciple and offered him blessings, he lost all his power, and he started crying, he's telling that, all my power went to you, so now I am like powerless. So like Prabhupada is telling, this spirituality doesn't work like that. Spirituality, how much ever we distribute, it increases. If we distribute and we feel like after a preaching program we feel exhausted and spiritually exhausted, matlab wo preaching program nahi hai, So like after a spiritual, the bodily exhaustion is okay. Spiritually we should be surcharged. So that is the this one. So then that is the thing which is mentioned here. So because if we properly distribute Krishna consciousness, so our Krishna consciousness will also increase. It is not going to decrease. So Prabhupada, every time he gets an opportunity, he criticizes this point that so this person who did like this, so he told that I have become bankrupt. So that's not possible. So if we distribute, so we will get more. And then Uchila Prema Vanya Chaudika Vedaya Stri Vriddha Balaka Yuva Sabara Dubaya. The flood of love of Godhead swelled in all directions, and thus young men, old men, women, and children were all immersed in the inundation. So, Sajjana Durjana Pangu Jada Andagana Prema Vanyaya Dubaila Jagate Rajana. The Krishna consciousness movement will inundate the entire world and drown everyone, whether one be a gentleman, rogue, or even lame, invalid, or blind. Jagata Dubila Jivera Haila Bija Nasha Taha Dekhi Panchajaner Parama Ullasa. When the 5 members of Panchatattva saw the entire world drowned in the love of Godhead and seed of material enjoyment in the living entity completely destroyed, they all became exceedingly happy. So this, we see that in a very amazing aspect. So whenever we go do this activity of preaching the Krishna consciousness and bringing the living entities closer to Krishna, so we can immediately understand, so this is going to offer pleasure to Panchatattva. So because they are trying to do this thing, and we are all their assistants, and we are trying to assist them in this process of reaching the Krishna consciousness to as many people as possible. And when we do this thing, so they naturally become happy, and when they become happy, so we get more nourishment and more absorption in Krishna consciousness. And if we get more absorption in Krishna consciousness, we want to distribute more. And if we distribute more, they'll get pleased more, and we'll get more absorption. And then more absorption, then we'll get more desire to distribute. Right? So this is what happens. So I just pause here. Any questions, comments, or reflections we can take. Hare Krishna.
I have a question for you. Here, the last shloka that we read, it says, they saw the entire world drowned in love of Godhead. So, are we talking about the future, or it happened at that time?
The previous shloka, it is in the, it's in future tense.
Will inundate.
I also have that much only I know this question almost every time comes, so that's why I wrote the tense. The previous shloka, it is in future tense. मतलब हो ही रहा है.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. So in the Jaladuta prayers also something like this comes. The entire world has become conquered by the holy names. So Prabhupada was able to see. So similarly, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Some nice points which I could take away from today's lecture. Material things, material aspects when understood from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it helps to develop detachment. You were giving the example how some people say, in fact, I have actually talked to some parents who are little protective about allowing their children to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, this is there, that is there, they can't read this stuff, so we will skip this stuff, we'll go to the next chapter. But the children will anyways come to know in a much degraded way from other places. But if they come to know from the bona fide place, it's much better. With the blessings in this verse, Maitra Muni was telling to Vidra that anybody who will read this, they will get liberation from the material bodily concept of life. So when these such kind of blessings are there, then spiritual knowledge becomes very easily digestible. And we could connect it to the fact which you were telling regarding the pleasure of the Panchatattva. When we do something which the Panchatattva want, then we get a lot of absorption because the Panchatattva get pleased. And because of that absorption, we will want to serve Panchatattva more. And then they'll get pleased more, and then absorption will be more, and then pleased more, absorption more. So it's very important to do something which they want. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Hari. So this is point which I told lastly. The preaching gives pleasure to Panch Tattva. It is very important. I like this point because you told absorption will come by doing preaching, and when absorption will coming again, you will get more desire to preach. So it's like a cycle. So it is good. Very like क्या बोलते इसको manifold हो रहा है बार बार. So this is very nice point. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So one point from the lecture, Prabhu told like it doesn't matter how much you work. Rest, you know, in the end, everything will finish. So I'm working a lot.
So he had a product that he was working, and the moment he quit the company, they scrapped the product.
So I'm working a lot on a product. Let's see what happens with it. Hare Krishna.
You mentioned that people don't have enthusiasm to work when they see that this is temporary. But still, we see outside people are so passionate. They are working hard so much, especially scientists and all. They are so hard working. So, how to understand this?
So this is the like in the marketing, this one and all. If you see like these days, when the products are made, like the products are made with less cost, as less cost as possible. Just like before Ambassador car and all, you have seen a very sturdy car. So nowadays, like plastic, most of the things are plastic, and if one accident, like it'll papad se bhi like patla ho jayega car. ऐसा product बनाते हैं, and then advertisement is so amazing. तो इतना स्लीक, इतना पॉलिश्ड, इतना अमेजिंग, एंड देन उसमें लाइक बहुत सुंदर सुंदर लोग ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, और अच्छा फैमिलीज है, उसमें खुशी है, ये सब चीज़ वो देख के लाइक दे गो फॉर इट. तो ये भगवान का भी ऐसा है, लाइक नो वो ब्रह्मा का बारे में बताया गया, लाइक नो ही पुट्स लाइक स्टूल, यूरिन, देन लाइक म्यूकस एंड कपवाद पित्त नो सब अंदर डालते हैं और उसको फिर एक लेयर देते हैं नो स्किन का, इतना अच्छा स्किन का लेयर देते हैं और लाइक पूरा दुनिया पागल हो जाता है उसका पीछे, है ना. सो दैट वे लाइक द होल थिंग, it is only possible by illusion. It's only possible by illusion and marketing. तो माया देवी अच्छे से करती है ना. तो माया अपकृत ज्ञान है, इसके लिए नो उनको बोलते हैं, साइंटिस्ट को बोलते हैं कि माया अपकृत ज्ञान है. जिसको ज्ञान को माया अपहरण कर लिया, है ना. तो नो ओनली आउट ऑफ illusion, and we have to seeing the material world, no, seeing people around, we have to glorify and appreciate Krishna. No, Krishna's, you can put it silent, no? So like no, Krishna makes such an arrangement that people go really full on into this material world. It is, the illusion is that yeah, like I can see that things are destroying, but still I am a very intelligent person, I can make things permanent. कुछ ना कुछ करेंगे, like सब अच्छा हो जाएगा, मैं करूँगा, लाइक आज तो कोई नहीं किया बट मैं करूँगा. सो लाइक वो कॉन्फिडेंस दे के रखता है माया, सो दैट इज अ थिंग. Only out of illusion we can do this thing. And Krishna's illusion is, this is why it is called Mama Maya Duratya. Nobody, it's like so powerful. No useless product, but उसको like इतना value देके बिठा दिए, and nobody is able to detect it. So it's like amazing. And market में जाके हम लोग चिल्ला रहे, अरे ये useless product है, इसको मत खरीदो, ये तो बेकार है, थर्ड क्लास है. नहीं नहीं, ये अच्छा है, इसी को करेंगे. ना फर्स्ट क्लास मैं देता हूँ, नहीं नहीं वो नहीं चाहिए, यही चाहिए हमको. This is how powerful Krishna's Maya is. No? Who's actually opposition for our preaching? We are preaching Krishna's message, and who's opposing this preaching? Krishna's Maya. So that is the only opposition that we have. Hare Krishna. ठीक है.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. From today's class points, sir, you told about when we're chanting and dancing should be in the mode of service, Prabhuji. And another point which I have took means you told that we want to enjoy here and we want Krishna to give comfort here only. But you told he made another word for that and we should go there. नहीं तो इधर ही मर जाएंगे हम. इधर
मर जाएंगे. That is also one request. The living age. Krishna, so much of difficulty is there in this world. Just give me liberation. I just want free from all the problems, and I want to have enjoyment. Krishna is telling that you can only be happy at my lotus feet. You come to my lotus feet. No, apart from your lotus feet, you give me some pleasure, and I want to be happy. It's not possible.
And you also told about Mahavishnu's dream. This material world and spirit soul are dream of Mahavishnu, and it can be broken up as material energy. It get destroyed, Prabhuji. And for how much we accumulate, it get destroyed once. Therefore, we should preach such that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and their associate gets pleased, and we will get mercy and we will distribute it. So we should be intense.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So the one point is the right description of this material will give vairagya. So if we don't get, that means that we are not understanding this material world in the right aspect.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, हमने जैसे बताया कि एक्चुअली दुखालय कैसे हमको पहचानेंगे. जैसे कि वो बच्चा पैदा होता है तो अगर नहीं रोता है तो और एक बार मार के उसको रुलाते, तो उसी टाइम में समझ लेना चाहिए कि ये दुखालय है, इसलिए इधर आने से रोना पड़ता है. तो ये भी आएंगे तो रोना पड़ेगा, नहीं रोने तो मार के रुलाएंगे. और बताया कि रियलाइजेशन, स्पिरिचुअल रियलाइजेशन ज़्यादा हम प्रीचिंग करने से ही मिलता है. और जितना हम बताएंगे उतना गहराई में जाएंगे और उतना सुनने के लिए या पढ़ने के लिए डीपली स्टडी करने के लिए भी इंटरेस्ट बढ़ेगा अगर प्रीचिंग करेंगे. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question. So that you told
when we chant, we should not chant in the mode of exploitation or enjoying. So we should only chant for the pleasure of Krishna. So how can we understand whether we are exploiting or we are chanting for the pleasure of Krishna?
तो एक्सप्लॉइट करने के लिए पहले थोड़ा टेस्ट तो आना चाहिए, तो उसके पहले लाइक इसको एक्सप्लॉइट नहीं कर सकते. तो बट एटलीस्ट देयर इज टू वेज ऑफ चैंटिंग, लाइक ब्रॉड कैटेगरी. तो वन चैंटिंग इज दैट वी कैन somehow or other, this has been asked, this has been told to me, I have to do, like, as a burden, we can do. Another thing is, just like now, a proper way of service, like if some senior devotee comes, what is the proper way of service? We have to be attentive. He is asking some rice to put, now I am putting dal. We'll say like, nah, be attentive, main kya pucha, like, like that. So in this way, like when we are doing various services, very important, this ones are there. So in the chanting also, one benchmark, so that all of us are trying to do is the last offense, that has been mentioned. It is inattentive chanting. So like we are trying to, at least, because why we are trying to do that? Why not all other things? Yes, all other things we have to be focused on. So somebody may have one problem, another problem, and things like that. But it is mentioned all the offenses, the root, the mother of all the offenses is inattentive chanting. So if we can do this one, like attentive chanting, like, I want to hear the names of the Lord clearly. And while hearing, we can actually have this consciousness, this sound vibration that is coming out. This is Krishna himself and this is the master. And I'm doing service. So what is the service expected at that point in time? I have to hear clearly. That is like hosh mein sunna chahiye. तो बेहोश में नहीं सुनना चाहिए, होश में सुनना चाहिए. So when I do this thing, like we remind ourselves again and again, I am a servant here and my master is present here and I am trying to serve him by the way of hearing. So then, we get nourishment actually. So anywhere, so this is our original relationship. Original relationship is Krishna as the master and we are his servant. And whenever we renew that original relationship, be it chanting or reading or preaching or singing and dancing or taking prasadam, anywhere you revive this original relationship that I am servant and like Krishna as master and I am serving him in this particular way. Just like one devotee was mentioning, it was so nice that just because prasadam is tasty, don't gulp it very fast. You can take more and things like that. So prasadam, service to prasadam is like meditate and chew nicely. And like every morsel that is coming, you meditate that this particular morsel of prasadam has been touched the lips, has touched the lips of the Lord and it is purified and sanctified. So, and it is great mercy, like it is not possible that any ordinary person can get the mercy of the Lord, and I am an ordinary person, or I am degraded than ordinary person, but still, it is, Krishna is so magnanimous that he has given me this mercy. So like as a service to him, so I will like properly, consciously have the prasadam. So in that way, like anywhere we renew this relationship that I am servant and Krishna is master, and in this particular service, how I am doing, so if I am consciously, if I do that, so that offers nourishment. That offers like really the boost in our consciousness actually. So this is what is the root of this one. And in the chanting also the very same thing. So there the service is like we are chanting and we are listening to it. So like that, in the mood of servant and considering the sound vibration to be the master, like that. So हमको like कौन मास्टर है पता है और मास्टर को कैसे सर्व करना है पता है, अभी करना है बैठ के. और like when we are doing, we are not able to do, the solution is request the master, he will give the power to do. So that is this one. So that is a prayer. And when the master gives it, we be grateful to him, that he has given us this treasure, like that. So in that way, so these are all some of the basic elements. So when we do this thing, so then automatically we will get this one. So most of the time, if we see that, like I have analyzed myself, so whenever I am not feeling enthusiasm in chanting, so that means if I carefully analyze, I am not in the mood of servant. No, I am there in the mood of boss. So then I am not getting the relishment. So I want to chant like I want to do something. So I want is there. So then I am in the mood of boss. So then it is not possible. So whenever I approach saying that, I am so fallen, I don't have any qualification to chant, I don't have the right this one. So it is only by your mercy anything can happen. And like meditating about all the previous acharyas, spiritual master Prabhupada, Panchatattva, and previous acharyas, and like all the devotees like who has helped us in Krishna consciousness. So when I meditate about all of them and then I give credit to them, saying that it is only by your mercy, no, I am able to do something. So then immediately like, no, there is some, this one comes, there is some like taste that actually arises. So this is the key thing, that Krishna is there ready to do. And if we come in the mood of servant, like not just in chanting, no, in any of the services that we are doing. So if we come in the mood of servant and then approach the Lord in that particular way, then when our hit our original relationship, immediately like we start getting nourishment. So that's the sign that we will be spiritually, we'll feel somewhat blissful. So that is a sign that like we are doing it proper. That's going right. Hare Krishna. Just 2 minutes is there. Anybody wants? Yeah. Yeah. Both things is possible, because in the spiritual, the ingredients of the material world is going to be there, but the form and shape and the relationships of this material world is not permanent. So the ingredients, the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, and all the Mahatattva and things like that, that is not going to change. So like it is the law of conservation is there. What is that? Neither be created nor be destroyed. So in that way, it cannot be destroyed or created. It is there. But when you go to the details of that, like this particular relationship, now I am a son of so and so, and I am a father of so and so. So I have particular relationship. So this is something that I have created on top of it. Will this last? No, this will not last. This will have to come to an end. Right? So the basic ingredients is going to be there. The conceptions and the relations that we have developed, with various forms and shapes of this world. So that is not going to be permanent, like that. So it is real, but at the same time it is illusion, like that. ठीक है. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. कृष्ण.